What up YouTube? Back with some more British politics. Put the link in the description. We'll get it underway. Yet there remained a real conundrum once traditional accounts of a balanced constitution were abandoned, as they had to be once the dominance of the Commons was underwritten by an advancing democracy. The conundrum turned on the principle of parliamentary sovereignty, long enshrined as the organising principle of legislative authority in Britain, and how it could be reconciled with an old system of checks and balances once power was fused with a parliamentary majority could deploy it to secure its unhindered way. If parliamentary sovereignty meant that Parliament could do anything it liked, and if this sovereignty was now effectively exercised by the Commons alone, and if the Commons was now in the iron grip of the executive, where did this leave the Constitution? Where were the checks and balances? Where was the protection against arbitrary government? Where were the limits of the state? Such questions have become central to modern constitutional argument in Britain, and they were already surfacing at the end of the 19th century when A.W. Dicey's classic interpretation of the Constitution appeared. This is relevant here, since its purpose was to navigate an old constitution into a new democratic legitimacy. If the sovereignty of Parliament was the one fundamental law of the British Constitution, how was this supposed to be reconciled with the fundamental democratic principle of the sovereign people? What was meant to prevent a sovereign Parliament exercising arbitrary power over a sovereign people? I'm sure we can already see the issues that we have with having an essentially indefinitely powerful Parliament, which will be able to pass laws as and when they so choose, with no checks and balances. As the recent UK Online Safety Act illustrates, the only checks and balances we've sort of had there is the USA coming over, sending free senators to make sure the UK isn't breaking their own citizens' laws. So it does indeed make it quite a tricky topic. Should we have Parliament, which is sovereign to make any choices that we choose, which would certainly be nice if the government were representing the people as they should be, or do we have a constitution which limits the government and could potentially make them gridlocked so that nothing of it is ever achieved? I mean, certainly this past year or so, that would have been preferable. I can't think of many laws that the government have passed that we've all been happy with. Most people have issues with at least some of the laws that have been passed. I don't think anybody's happy. The Labour voters aren't happy. The Conservatives aren't happy. Everybody is supremely unimpressed with this government acting in such a way. And yes, they do have the majority, but I believe only 40% of the vote turned out. So do they really represent everybody, or have they just got the facade of power and they're exercising that over the populace without having any sort of recompense or any sort of way that the populace can say, yes, that is good? And so something I've been thinking about, maybe I'll make a video about this, maybe I'll get roasted for it, is that I'm starting to sort of think that maybe Parliament should operate more like a sort of reality TV show, like Love Island, where we can vote people out every week. There's a vote. Whichever politician gets the most votes for eviction is gone. Maybe we have a threshold that there has to be so many votes for the eviction to take place, or the sacking. You know, and I kind of think in some way that could make a lot more sense. We would have people out of office a lot quicker. Say like Rachel Reeves, she'd have been gone quick, sharp, and in a hurry. But now we're stuck with her just because she's Keir Starmer's pet. You know, he will look foolish if he gets rid of her. So yeah, I mean, maybe I'll make this a video and try and make it a bit more professional. Obviously, I'm not nobody or anybody's going to listen to that. Maybe I can at least raise it as a subject that the rest of the UK might take note of and might actually, I don't know, take serious. Because I certainly think that would be much more preferable to what we have now. I mean, we have no constitution, so we have no way of essentially holding the government to account other than these petitions that they usually ignore, or protesting in the streets. So I personally think a reality style TV show format where we evict them would certainly be the way forward. So I'm sorry if I haven't talked much about the Constitution. I suppose that the last video was about the Constitution. I didn't want to repeat myself, although to be fair, this has been a very similar video to the last one. But you know, I'll get better at these. I'll get onto some other parts of British politics, and I'll see you in the next one.